I'd like to call to order the Park and Rec Commission meeting of Wednesday, April 20th. And to start off the meeting, we'll go through the roll call. Jackie?
Pledge?
Oh, we'll start off the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, then we'll do the roll call. Sierra, will you lead us, please?
I would love to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now it's coming to me. I think we'll do the roll call, please.
Chair Greenberg.
Here.
Vice Chair Marshall.
Here.
Commissioner Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Nigel.
Here.
Commissioner Palmer.
Here.
Commissioner Pierce.
Here.
Commissioner Zamatia.
Here.
Youth Representative Bauer.
Here.
And Commissioner Lara has been excused.
Okay, before we proceed with that, Tom Lara, some of you know and some of you don't know, last week he had surgery on his right leg to improve the circulation, and he came home a week later, so he just arrived home on Monday, so he's home recuperating and on his feet. I expect him at our next meeting. He's a diehard there. So we're wishing you well. We think of you often, Tom, and hurry back soon. Okay, so first item on our agenda is our favorite time of year. It is, we'll jump to new business G, the presentation of the Community Recognition Award. And this recognition award we give out every year, and it's usually it's always to a San Bruno resident who is deserving of recognition for all the hard work and dedication and volunteer work that they have demonstrated. And to start it off, we will go to Jeff Madonich. Thank you, Jeff.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I'm delighted to be here this evening in order to introduce a very special guest and also to celebrate her significant contribution to our community. The Redwood Remembrance Retreat in Buckeye Park was conceived by Norma Griffith as part of her citywide volunteer reforestation project called Tree Times 5. The mission of this organization was to replace trees uprooted by developers in the California Highway Division in a ratio of 5 trees planted for every tree removed. The Redwood Remembrance Retreat was planted and dedicated in 1970 in honor of California veterans of the Vietnam War. Thanks to Norma's ambitious vision and tireless efforts, what started out as a planting of 25 small coast redwoods flourishes today as a grove of towering giants, well in excess of 100 feet tall, that provides a natural cathedral for those seeking to enjoy the solitude, peace, and hope that we all need. So thank you very much, Norma.
So Norma, if you step to the podium there.
I'd like to introduce Norma Griffith, and her son Stephen is here tonight also.
I would like to say thank you very much to all of you. And my feelings are that of Marcel Proust, if I may quote him. He said, "Let us be thankful for people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom." And you certainly have done that. Now, if you indulge me, please, I'm not a public speaker, as you can imagine. I would like my son to speak and read a response to your wonderful, wonderful credit that you've given me. Thank you so much. There have been many people involved, but
I'd like to thank you and thank you, Madam Commissioner and Chair and the Commissioners. And I'm going to read the statement for my mother, and I would like to convey my heartfelt gratitude to Mr. Jeff Madonich, first for nominating me and all of the commissioners who either voted for me or approved the votes, as well as all of the kind voters behind the scenes. I am truly thankful for and honored by this award and to be thus recognized. 4 decades ago, I conceived of Tree Times 5, a reforestation project intended to replace, at a ratio of 5-to-1, trees cut down by developers in the Highway Division in San Bruno. The centerpiece of this effort was the planting of 25 coast redwood sempervirens, which now stand dozens of feet tall as they guard the Redwood Remembrance Retreat at Buckeye Grove Park in Crestmore. At the time, America was deeply divided by the Vietnam War, and we thought it fitting not only to restore these natural wonders, but to restore the memory and dignity of those who served in this contentious conflict, many of whom made the supreme sacrifice. Although my heart and soul went into everything from planting to pavement pounding on behalf of this enterprise, none of it would have been possible without the contributions of San Bruno's wonderful people, my beloved husband, Richard, who composed the plaque inscription, my son, Steve, and countless San Bruno Park Department staff, who selflessly and tirelessly devoted hours of their own time to this natural cathedral's realization. While I am deeply appreciative of this award, I would like to accept it on behalf of all those who are no longer with us and in whose spirit the Redwood Remembrance Retreat and hundreds of other Tree Times 5 plantings proudly stand. Thanking you again, I remain cordially Norma Griffith. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you, Steve. And Norma, if you'll come back to the podium, please. Norma, you have given to the community unselfishly, and we so are honored to have you. On our perpetual plaque that stays in the Park and Rec Department, your name has been added, as you see, so this will be at our building. So this is for all of us to see it. And then this is something for you. And it says, San Bruno Parks and Recreation Commission Community Recognition Award presented to Norma Griffith for your commitment to the community of San Bruno. It's dated April 20th, 2011.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
Oh. I'm most grateful to all of you. Thank you very, very much. I shall treasure this always.
Yeah. That's sweet.
Through the chair.
I guess that's one of the reasons we're all here, huh? Yes, Dave.
Norma, I've known you since 1959. I worked with your husband, Richard, in the post office when I was going to college, and I met you, and you have been a delight for our community, a fellow Crestmore resident. You do, besides this project, you do so many things in the community in a quiet, wonderful way, and I just admire everything you do. And I look forward, because Norma is my poll officer when I go to vote, and I always look forward to seeing her at that site on Rosewood. I congratulate you, and I'm delighted.
You embarrass me. You make me feel tall. And I'm most grateful.
Thank you. I'll see you at the polls.
Congratulations. Now, I did bring copies for everyone of my response, so I will bring.
Oh, I'd love it. Thank you for bringing us copies of your response. Thank you.
And thank you again for inviting us.
And Norma, you are very tall. You're taller than the redwood tree. I almost don't want to move on. Okay. And you're welcome to stay or leave if you wish. So let's go on to the top of our agenda then. Unfinished business, the committee projects, the commissioner's report. Did everyone get a chance to? Oh, righto, thank you. Okay, I skipped another part. Oh, we have minutes from our last meeting. I got so excited with Norma. Minutes from our last meeting. Has everyone been able to read them, and does anybody want to approve them? Make a motion to approve them.
I motion that we approve the minutes of March 16th.
And I'll second that.
Thank you.
Okay, so it's been moved by Commissioner Davis and approved by Commissioner Palma that we approve the minutes. On the question, anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, they've been approved then. Okay, now we will go on to our status report. We're all on subcommittees working on it, and we'll bring you up to date of the latest ones. And we'll start out with the athletic field, and that chair is Commissioner Greg Pierce. Greg?
Thank you. The project is moving along at its own special speed. At this time, the next step is for it to be presented to council. The check-in is for staff to have a better handle on the estimated construction costs and obtain council feedback about how much park and loop fees they may be willing to spend. That'll help them create a target dollar amount for the city's fundraising efforts. It's basically discussion on how this will be paid for. Everything's on track. Everything is looking good on the construction aspect, and everything's on track. That's the best news I've heard.
And do you have a time in mind when they're actually going to start, or we're just waiting for the money?
Until the money's been approved, I
All
don't
right.
think there's a start date.
Okay,
So
I would love to see.
when and if it is presented to council where it would be important for us to be there, we'll all be notified, and we can follow this one through.
Thank you, Greg, for staying on top of that.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any comments or anything? All right, shall we move on to the next order of business? We'll address the dog park, and our chair of that committee is Stephen Marshall.
Yeah, I don't have any new report for the dog park, but I'd be curious to see if any more donations came in.
Just to update everybody, we do have pledges for about $1,500 towards lighting system at the dog park. The lowest priced option we looked at was $3,000. So we're halfway there, and the letter was sent out to people who came to the commission in the past couple of years talking about the dog park. The memo was also posted on the fence of the dog park. So we are open to other donors, but as of yet, we have not received any after the initial $1,500.
So this is in steps to improve our dog park area. We want to get lights in there for the people late at night, or actually when it goes early, it gets dark about 5 o'clock, and they can still walk their pets after. So we're really looking to get lights at the dog park. If anybody will wish to contribute, just contact the Park and Rec Department. Okay, and then the next item on our agenda is addressing the pedestrian crosswalk in front of the Recreation Center. Do you have an update on that for us, Randy?
Yeah, this is an item that Commissioner Zamatia brought to our attention, a safety issue in front of the Recreation Center. Immediately in front of the Recreation Center, moving into City Park, originally there was an extra placard coming from both directions that cautioned people as they came into the intersection they needed to stop for pedestrians. During the repaving project, the placard was removed and not replaced. As Commissioner Zamatia brought to our attention a few months ago, it has been reinstalled, but there's still a question about, can the area become more safe? And so Recreation Services Manager Danielle Brewer and I met with representatives from Community Services Department, from Public Services Department, and they are still going to be looking at different options for the intersection, possibly switching the yellow zone in front with the blue zone to see if that's possible, or other options, and they will work through the Traffic Engineers Department. So it's still ongoing, and we will report back to you more at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Anybody wish to have anything added to the unfinished business segment of our agenda? Okay. Under communications, do we have any communications that we received? Nobody? All right, let's move on then. Public comment. If anybody in the audience would like to address the commission, now is the time. Seeing nothing there. Okay. Under G, we have new business. The second one is the preview of the summer 2011 programs, and I believe we have a video presentation.
We do, and we're going to have Recreation Supervisor Kranitz. D. Krantz, the name change has been official. So D. Krantz will be making the report.
Hi, good evening, Commissioner. Okay, so I have the pleasure to talk a little bit more about what's going on around the Recreation Department before we present the video. Right now, we are actually spring camp is going on, and we have 25 kids at the rec center who are engaging in various fun activities. With that, we're gearing up for a new after-school program at Allen School, which is our ACES program, the After School Education and Safety Program, which is actually, it has been brought forth by a grant that Allen School did receive. And so I've been hiring enrichment instructors, homework tutors, more rec leaders to provide, actually to put this program on. And we have about 85 children right now signed up for the program with a max of 100. So, and that starts on Tuesday. Also, we have summer camp coming around the corner here. And of course, it's going to be for 3.5 to 13-year-olds. And we usually have about 175 campers a week. And we're currently accepting registration for that. And yeah, so we're going to show you a highlight from last summer, a nice little video, just once again demonstrating what we do at camp.
Do you want to walk us through what's going on?
So right now what you're seeing, this is Mini Kaleidoscope, our youngest campers, 3.5 to 5-year-olds. So they're engaging in some dramatic play right here. So these little guys, they don't go on our field trips, however, they do engage in more of our special events and so forth. So we have about 30 kids, 30 campers of this age group each week. So we also bring in guest presenters, wizards, and clowns and so forth too. We keep them busy every minute of the day. And they're thoroughly exhausted when they go home. So again, arts and crafts. So we'd like to incorporate themes each week, and I believe this one week was Community Week, and so we had the police and fire department camp. Okay, so here are our Camp Kaleidoscope campers, ages 6 through 10, and various scenes of learning how to play different sports at the pool, arts and crafts, special events as well. Of course, sports up in the gym, new games, a lot of new games and we have a lot of what we call 10-week campers who come each week for the whole 10 weeks. And so I like to spice it up for them and change the events and activities week by week so they're never bored. It always stays fresh.
These guys do field trips.
So as well as Camp Kaleidoscope and Adventure Camp, they both participate and go on field trips, off-site trips. And they go to the pool once or twice a week. Field trip, I believe that's to, at Boomers. Yeah. So adventure campers here, ages 12, 13, and 14-year-olds. 11, 12, 13, 14-year-olds. And so we have about 20, 25 campers a week in this age group. So that's at the Boardwalk, Santa Cruz. Engaging in a special event here. So making pizza over, I believe, at Extreme Pizza here in San Bruno. So this age group, they like to go off-site a lot, whether it's local field trips or field trips further away. So here we go, some of our special events, Beat the Heat, our water carnival day. We bring in big water jumpers, long slip and slides made out of, just throw down the tarp and throw some soap and water, and there you go. Here's American Idol. And our leaders, of course, they really get into it and they play the part, so it's great. So again, they get to use their creativity and increase their self-esteem by participating in special events like the Invention Convention. Here's Mission Impossible, where it's green versus red. It's kind of a spin-off of little Capture the Flag. And again, our field trips. To the zoo. So in Camp Kaleidoscope, we have about 120 kids a week. And we divide them up in age groups, of course, 5 through 10. And there's about 30 kids per age group.
An adventure camp?
Teach you how to do a cannonball.
Yeah, he's going to show us how to do a cannonball. And that's it. So once again, we are accepting registration for summer camp at the rec center. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Dee. And how can they register? What are the modes of doing it? Walk-in?
Okay, so the brochure went out today, so it should be landing in the mailboxes of San Bruno residents. So the public can go about registering via online at our website at www.sanbruno.ca.gov, or they can mail in the registration or fax it in, or they can come on into the rec center and sign up.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Dee. Thanks for all the information. Anybody have anything they want to say or add, please? Okay. Then we'll move on to our next itemized item. Number 3, report on the city's tree program, and I believe that's an oral report?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
Hello once again. This is a banner night for trees. I wanted to share with you an overview of our tree program in San Bruno. And I think the most important component is that we're fortunate enough to live in a community that understands the value and benefits of trees, and also demonstrates a commitment towards improving our urban forest. San Bruno has been acknowledged by the National Arbor Day Foundation for the last 6 years as a Tree City USA. If you'll notice on the overhead slide, less than half the cities in San Mateo County have been so noticed. So I think it's an accomplishment that we're proud of. There are 4 standards that the city has to meet and maintain in order to get this recognition. The city must have a tree board or department. They must have a community forestry program with an annual budget of at least $2 per capita. They must have an Arbor Day observance and proclamation. And finally, they must have a tree care ordinance. And just as a point of clarification, I just wanted to talk a little bit about tree ordinances. In San Bruno, we have two different types of tree ordinances. The first one being a street tree ordinance. Street trees are trees that are planted, maintained, and removed solely by the city. By ordinance, nobody else is allowed to do any work on the trees or remove them without a permit or permission. Typically, street trees are located in the areas where there's a planting strip between the sidewalk and the street. The trees are located within that planting strip. In other sections of the town, of the city in the upper west end where there are no planting strips. The trees are generally planted in the front yard within 3 to 5 feet from the end of the sidewalk into the front yard. The other type of street tree ordinance, or the other tree ordinance that we have is a heritage tree ordinance. And this ordinance relates to protecting private trees on private property. There are thresholds that you use to measure the tree to see if it's a protected tree or not. Generally speaking, if a tree at chest height, if it's greater than 6 inches in diameter, if you want to do any pruning or removing of the tree, you need to obtain a permit from the city. And all this information is on the city website. We have a lot of good information. If you go to the city website under Parks Department and then click on tree information, there's a lot of helpful information there in terms of the ordinances. We have tree lists to help people choose appropriate trees for their properties and such. And it tells you how to go about getting help from us if you need it. We really like to take a proactive approach to meeting our tree management goals, and I'd just like to go over 3 of our big goals with a little bit of explanation. The first goal is to preserve the existing trees, and we accomplish that by following the International Society of Arboriculture's best management practices. For example, with street trees, all street trees in San Bruno are inspected and pruned on a once in every 4-year cycle. So the city is divided into 4 quadrants, which one section getting attention each year, and it revolves to the next section. And to give you an example of what that translates to in numbers, over the past 5 years, we've averaged pruning 428 trees per year. And then our second goal is we would really want to plant more trees than we remove, just to embellish our urban forest. Again, taking figures over the last 5 years, on an average per year, we've planted 102 trees per year and removed 85 trees per year. So we're meeting that goal. And then closely related to the planting more trees than we remove, the other really important component is that the right tree is chosen for the right location. And we're totally willing to help people with their private trees also. But we really have to be conscious as we move forward in terms of not planting trees that have conflicts with overhead utilities or underground utilities. Or, as trees mature, we want to make sure there's no visibility problems with motorists and pedestrians and such. So we really put a lot of effort and thought into selecting the right tree. It's kind of like children. Everything's really cute when it's small, and people bring these trees home and they're lovely and manageable, and then all of a sudden you go out one day and it's enveloped your entire house. So I think that's really one of the most important components that we're here to help with the residents, and in terms of choosing the trees that we plant for ourselves. We do have a new toy in our tool chest. Last year, Director Schwartz applied for and was awarded a grant from the Association of Bay Area Governments, also known as ABAG, and that grant was used to fund a tree inventory. So there's going to be some technical information up on the slide, and then I'd like to just share with you the methodology that the company used in collecting the data that we're going to be using in managing our trees. So West Coast Arborists Incorporated inventoried a total of 6,520 street trees, stumps, and vacant sites located in the street right-of-way, medians, and facilities of the city of San Bruno. Trees located in open space areas adjacent to houses and other hazard targets were also inventoried. So typically, a lot of times with tree inventories, cities just focus on actual street trees, but what staff decided was it was really important. The city of San Bruno has a lot of open spaces that we're responsible for that interface directly with homes and properties. So we had them collect, using the criteria, if a tree had a failure and it would reach a property that was adjacent to an open space, they counted those trees also. So it's a pretty thorough collection of what we have here. And then I'd like to share with you also the type of information they chose or that they collected for each tree. They identified the exact tree site location by address and also by coordinates, so we can use GPS to identify a tree, as in the case of in an open space. The tree identification, they identified the species of the tree, the diameter range or the size of the trunk. They collected the height range of the tree, the canopy range, which is the whole crown of the leaves and the branching and such. They assessed the general condition of the tree. They were also conscious of utility presence. So if we click on an address, that address will come up with the type of tree that's there, and it will also tell you if there's overhead wires. They also did some recommended maintenance on each tree. For example, they would make general recommendations in terms of pruning cycles and such. And then they would also give us a list of removal priorities in terms of if they came across a tree that was dead or structurally unsound, they would alert us to that. I can click on a list and identify all those sites and then prioritize those in terms of our maintenance. And it's really a cool tool. If you guys are ever in the office and you want to take a test drive, I mean, you can click on an address and then click on the map, and then you can look around the neighborhood. You could actually see the tree, and you can see the neighbors. And so I would encourage you just from a learning standpoint, if you're ever around, I'd be happy to share that with you. The inventory is web-based, meaning that we have instant access. We log on to the website that has our inventory. We have instant access to the tree information. We have a work history, when it was last pruned, any complaints we got about the tree, any peculiarities or things that we need to be conscious of. And so it's really an amazing tool that will help us be more efficient, and also, as important, it's a great way to document all the work that we do and plan future work. So once again, I would just, in closing, I would just encourage everybody to go to the city's website, which is www.sanbruno.ca.gov, and there is a wealth of tree information. There's contact information. You can get a hold of us very easily, and we're happy to come out and help you with any issue that you have. And there's a lot of self-help things on there where you can report a tree issue online without having to try to contact somebody on the phone. And so it's just a very good tool that we're pretty excited about. So, are there any questions?
Let's see. Who wants to go first, Dave or Lucy? Let's go ladies first. Lucy?
Through the chair. I have a question. So the trees that are in open spaces, do you guys prune those? I know you do all the city ones like on the streets and stuff, but the ones in the open spaces, like I'm thinking of like Crestmore Canyon and stuff, like those trees, what do they ever get taken care of?
It's a different type of management there, being, like I said, and that's why it was really important to us to collect the data on the trees, that if there was a failure, either a partial failure, meaning a limb would come off, or a total failure of the tree, we felt it was important to collect that information. And we do respond to concerns about trees out there. The inventory that was done kind of did a general assessment of the trees that were out there. There's also some work that's done out there by the utility companies. They do some line clearance. So pretty much all the trees in the open space, or a good majority of them, are located near power lines. So PG&E basically inspects those trees once a year. They walk the entire transmission lines, and
They do?
They do,
and then they prioritize their work. So together with all the different agencies, I mean, we work closely with them, and we try to touch as many bases as we can. But it's a pretty overwhelming area to cover. We do have to just prioritize the work and make assessments in terms of, is it something that definitely needs to be taken care of, or it's something that's not going to be a problem if there is a failure.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And then Dave, you had a comment too?
I have two. Excuse me. I have two questions. I know the very prestigious. First of all, Jeff, thanks to the crew. They do a great job. whenever I'm going around, they're always busy and it's hard work. And
Thank you.
the question I had was, I believe we got the prestigious designation of a tree city. I know Burlingame had it and Millbrae. Do we still have that?
Yes, we do. We've had it for 6 years now, and we reapply every year and get recertified.
And I know it's a very rigorous thing to achieve, so
Yeah,
that's
we're-
great.
We're pretty proud of that. I mean, and it shows commitment on the part of the community that we are willing to put, we are willing to invest in it both in time and financially to having a worthwhile and well thought out tree program.
How often do we have to apply for that? Or is
It's yearly.
Oh, yearly.
And we go through a reporting process where we have to report how many trees were removed, how many trees were pruned, how much money was spent on the tree program.
And on my second question, I'm concerned about the trees in Crestmore Canyon. We did go through the rainy season. I'm thinking back to the Oakland Hills fire. They were the same kind of trees. They're very hardy, the eucalyptus. But do we have to worry about soil erosion and the integrity of those trees? Or is PG&E taking care of that? Or
I mean,
what?
PG&E doesn't take care of that portion of it. We do. There was a study done by the fire department. It was a fire mitigation project, and they went through and assessed that whole area in terms of fire, and they pointed out some things that we dealt with. So we do try to get out there and check things, but there has in terms of a a formal soil study and such, we don't really.
So it's nothing we have to worry about?
If I can add to that, 2 points. One, the city council does put money away annually in terms of fire mitigation funds. And the Parks Division works closely with the fire department. The fire department identifies those sites that are in most need of maintenance. And those pertaining to vegetation, trees, brush, etc., the work is handled either directly or through contract, but through the Parks Division. And then the second piece of to share with you would be that last year we started a program where before storm season and then after each storm, Jeff works with all of the members of the Parks maintenance crew, and all of the trees are inspected, given visual inspections within a day or so as soon as the storm has ended. Obviously, during winter storms, there are going to be limb failures, hopefully not too many tree failures, but the more of the brush that we can remove, the more of the debris we can remove beforehand, the less impact it's going to have during the storm season. And then if there's any hangers, any limbs that may be on the way down that were loosened up during the storms, Jeff and his crew can spot those and take those down safely rather than having a failure within the week or month afterwards.
That really answers my question, and I think it answers Lucy's question too, because that's open space down there. And, I didn't think they did take care of any of that in there.
Yeah, we don't do regular maintenance on the open space trees other than those that are within striking distance of any property. If it's near a street, there are some of our open space areas that they're classified as open space, but they're still near residences or they're still near roadways. The property really itself is not used and therefore is really looked at as open space areas. The maintenance, the inventory was performed on those trees. Any maintenance to those trees will be looked at more as a street tree than as an open space tree. But those that are really down in the canyon, one of the first things that you learn in tree school is where are the targets. And if there aren't any targets, you don't really have too much of an issue there, liability-wise, etc. So we do very little maintenance in those, and we really don't have the resources to do maintenance in those areas. But those that are near residences, those are taken care of.
Through the chair, can I just make one more
Yes,
comment?
Lucy?
So when you say
the fire department mitigation, I'm sorry, I don't mean to go off the tree, because I think you guys do a great job, so now I'm just going on to something else, I'm sorry, but.
No, feel free.
So when you mention the fire department mitigation, what does that mean? Like, they're,
The fire department went through all the open spaces, similar to what we did in the tree inventory in terms of open spaces that are directly adjacent to homes, and they assessed each area for the amount of risk, potential risk that would be involved in the case of something happening. And they did a very extensive study, and they prioritized different areas that should be done first. And they did have contractors go through and take care of, some of the worst spots to the extent that resources allowed. And that's an ongoing thing. So,
because I know it used to be, like, I know that Crestmore Canyon by the houses used to be taken care of quite a bit. Like, I want to say, maybe it wasn't every year, but it was every couple of years that vegetation was taken out. It's got to be at least 10 years that has not been touched.
Yeah, that's true.
At least. So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who's in charge of that. I've even talked to the fire department about it. I don't really know who's in charge of that, and I know the money issues and stuff, but I'm just wondering where that gets taken care of.
I mean, we
We've been
just-
very lucky that nothing's happened, but
Right, we pay close attention in terms of, like Randy was saying, we identify trees that have targets, and we do, to the extent that possible, we check them out. And
so you guys
and-
work together with the fire
Yeah,
department?
in addition to the fire department, we have a budget too. The city funds a budget for us for dealing with open space issues that require climbing that we might need to bring a contractor in for. So we do, and we document all that. We do extensive work in the open spaces. A lot of times, it's based on a resident noticing something. In addition to us in our travels, if we see things, but a lot of times we're depending on residents because it's such a huge area, and
Yeah.
but we do respond to every issue.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair.
Dave, yes?
I have one more too. It gets pretty complicated. Like, I live on Skyline, and what you said is true. PG&E comes through on the transmission lines, and they hire a company to do the trimming. But that piece, we thought it was county, but it really belonged to Caltrans. They wouldn't do anything. And so it really scares us with those tall eucalyptus trees across the street. And so far we've been lucky, nothing's happened. But I just worry, like what happened down by the rec center with that tree coming down in the parking lot. And so I'm glad that they keep looking at those trees and point out the dangerous ones.
Yeah, and I understand the concern. The best that we can offer is apply the best science that we can. And every situation is very different. In terms of, was there construction around the tree? Is it a natural growing tree? Was it planted by somebody? So, I mean, I understand the fear, but a lot of times the fear is generalized. And as a tree person, I look at it a little bit differently. When I think in terms of how many failures of eucalyptus trees actually have occurred in San Bruno, it's not really a lot. So, I mean, I understand the fear. I'm not discounting that at all, but I think the best effort that we can make is to apply the science that we have and keep working at it.
Through the chair.
Yes, Stephen?
Quick question on the trees because I get questions a lot from residents on Madison Avenue between Madison and Peninsula High School. Are those the high school's trees, or are they the city trees?
Some of them are, yes, and some of those properties go up quite a bit further than people realize. And I run into that a lot. A lot of my inspections have to do with identifying tree ownership. And a lot of people say, well, my fence is right here and that tree's 30 feet away, and unfortunately, fence lines do not indicate property lines. So that's the first step in trying to resolve the issue is try to identify tree ownership.
Through the chair.
Yes,
And
Laura?
I was going in that same direction. Jeff, where can a resident get that information? Because that is part of the problem, is that everyone thinks it's a city issue, and it's really not a city issue. It's really
Yeah.
part of their property that they still need to maintain. And there's a certain amount of space that they still need to maintain even beyond their fence line.
I'm totally happy to clarify that for people. I mean, that's why I encourage them to go online and contact us. I mean, part of our job is, I feel, is to identify and to at least put them on the right track. If it's not the city's responsibility, I really feel like it's important to give somebody direction and an honest answer.
Okay.
It's not always the answer they want to hear, but nobody wants to realize that 400-foot eucalyptus tree is really in their backyard.
Right.
But sometimes that's the fact.
Right.
But I would just encourage people to contact us with any of those issues.
Thanks, Jeff.
Mhm.
Thank you so much, Jeff Madonich. I'm so proud that San Bruno is a Tree City USA, and it's great to have an in-house arborist. So
Well,
thank you.
We appreciate your support, too.
Oh,
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else have any questions or any comments? Then we'll move along our agenda. We're under reports. First, staff. Does staff have any reports they want to share with us?
We have a few reports for you, and to start off, Elizabeth is our intern from San Francisco State University, and she's going to start off the staff reports. Elizabeth Tapia.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Elizabeth Tapia. I'm a Recreation Administration student at San Francisco State University. Excuse me. As a part of my program at San Francisco State, I've had the opportunity to perform a internship in my last semester. And after my interviews throughout different agencies, I chose San Bruno, primarily because of the warm fuzzies that I felt with Randy and Danielle. But also because of the small community that you guys have here and the work environment that I felt walking in through the door. In the last 3 months, I've been given the opportunity to work on several projects. My main project has been implementing a kickball league within 4 of the elementary schools. We have about 40 participants. It's been a great non-competitive alternative for the children who don't want to play baseball, because it's pretty competitive from what I hear in San Bruno. So for next year and future leagues, we expect a huge turnout because it's been pretty popular. So and people call me every day to see if they can still sign up. So I've also been involved here at the Senior Center with activities including co-teaching a walking class called Walk With Ease, and it's in collaboration with the Arthritis Foundation. And we have a full class of 15 seniors, and I teach that with Kathy Smith. Our other highlights for my time here include working on the park's equipment replacement plan, creating a park memorial bench catalog, and working with the new ACES after-school program budget and implementation plan. I've been able to see the progress of our pool renovation from beginning. I even was able to go to the bid opening, and I'll be able to see it to the end in May. And right now, the tiles are being placed and just waiting to be grouted, and next week they'll start the fiberglass spraying. And lastly, I've worked a few special events, including the father-daughter dance and Saturday's egg hunt. But I have to say my favorite event was being a part of the Giants Trophy Tour. That day I got a lot of crowd control experience. So, but overall, I feel this has been a great experience. I really want to thank Randy and Danielle, who chose me to be their intern, and Jenny, Tucker, Dee, Fabella, and Jackie Matias for answering my 1,000,002 questions every day. So, yeah. Any questions?
Can you also report on the Easter egg hunt?
What's that?
On the Easter egg?
What's that?
Report on the Easter egg.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure about how many people were at the Easter egg hunt, but there were a lot. I know that the Lions Club did the pancake breakfast, and that went great. We had a full tables everywhere in our meeting room. We had the 3 different age groups for the egg hunt. The Easter Bunny had a great time too. Yeah, we had activities, arts and crafts, face painting. The fire department came out, and that was a huge hit. So I hope they can come back next year. And yeah, had a great time. Yeah.
I just want to touch.
Are you on?
Yeah. Just want to touch base on a couple of other events coming up. On May 1st, we're going to be holding the San Bruno's first annual Streets Alive. It is actually the second annual. It's a county-wide project that every city has some sort of activity, just about every city in San Mateo County has some sort of activity to promote healthy and safe streets and activities. So ours will be held on May 1st. It's going to begin, and all the different parts are optional, but it's going to begin at San Bruno City Park with a guided historical walk from the park down to downtown, stopping along the way at different historical sites. The walk will be led by John Alita, who's our Assistant Library Director, so it should be very interesting, and he's going to have lots of information about San Bruno. And then from there, we're going to meet down at Genevan Avenue between El Camino and San Mateo Avenue for demonstrations and performances by some of our instructors who are going to be teaching this summer and who are currently teaching right now, as well as we're hoping the skateboard people that do our skate classes, they have said that they'll bring out some ramps for the kids to try, and we're going to bring out our basketball hoops for the kids to have some basketball competitions or playing with a couple of our staff members. And Vivo Music will be providing our sound, and they're going to have one of their vocal groups performing that we offer classes through them. And it's also the grand opening of the Farmers Market. So this is being done in conjunction with the grand opening of the San Bruno Farmers Market. And that's on May 1st. The downtown part starts at 10, and the walk starts in San Bruno City Park at 9:15, and everything is free. Thank you.
And I would also just like to remind everybody that Operation Clean Sweep is coming up, and hopefully everybody will be able to participate in that event too, and that's on May 7th, and that's meeting at City Park at 9 a.m. also.
Do you have to register for that beforehand, so you just show up? Show up at what time?
For Streets
9?
Alive? For
No, for the Operation Clean Sweep.
You don't have to register. You can. I believe there's a website. I'm sorry, I don't know what it is, but I think you can go on the city website and there's a place for you to register ahead of time, but you don't have to. You can show up that day.
Yeah, I thought they needed a head count or something. Okay. Anybody have any questions on the staff's report? That was great. Thank you so much. The May 1st one sounds exciting. Coaching the.
What was the question?
The May 1st, the walk and the history. Who's John's leading that?
John's leading the walk.
Okay.
And then we'll have our instructors and some staff.
And that ends up in the portion where the farmers market is, that part of the
Correct.
street that's closed?
Right,
Okay,
right.
great. Any questions, anyone? Okay, then we'll move on to Commissioner's report.
Through the chair.
Yes, Dave?
As you know, I'm the representative of the commission to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. We're a hard-working committee. The next event coming up is Bike to Work Day, which we're very active in with the city of Millbrae, South San Francisco, and San Bruno. And we work with the Traffic Congestion Alliance. Never can get that whole name together, but they're based in Bay Hill, and they're a fantastic support for us. It's a great event. And the next one after that will be the Posey Day Parade, the first Sunday in June. We've been one of the committees that's been very active. And Dee, if registration still has openings, we'd be happy to pass out the registrations for the summer camp programs as well. We're always looking for other things because we talk to a lot of families on that day. The other thing is our big project right now, the county has a master plan for bike paths. Again, our staff has been very active in helping us get involved in that program, and I will give you an update on that as things progress in the future.
Thank you, Dave. That was great. Anybody else have any commissioner's report?
Through the chair.
Yes, Greg?
I just wanted to take a minute and thank the Park Services, Renee Walsh and his Park Services Department for the outstanding efforts on their part to save the soccer season at Crestmore and Parkside after the month of March and all the rain that was involved. We suffered some serious setbacks, but they were able to bring us back online, and kids are playing now, but it was really a great effort by the Park Service Department, so thank you.
great, good to hear that.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I have one thing. Hopefully, this has gone out to all the schools already. I know you said St. Robert's received it and some of the public schools. This is Junior Giants coming up. It's a summer baseball program sponsored by the San Francisco Giants, the World Series champions Giants, and it's a free program. Our age group in San Bruno is 7 to 12 years old, so anybody 7 or 12 interested in playing baseball with the Junior Giants for the summer, just come to our signups, and they are Saturday, May 7th and the 14th, 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock at the San Bruno Rec Center. So come one, come all for a great time. Anybody else have anything?
I did have a quick question. We have our schedule of inspection. Do we have any dates set yet for 2011?
Through the chair, I thought it was the May 18th.
May 18th?
Mhm.
May 18th meeting at
Our
5
next meeting will meet
5 o'clock.
before and check out some park sites.
That's why I asked. Thank you.
Okay, and as most of you know, we are the advisory to City Council. We make recommendations to them for our community services, for park and recreation activities, and our liaison this year is City Council Member Rico Medina. So thank you very much, Rico, for being at our meeting, and we truly appreciate that. So anybody else have anything else they want to bring up? Seeing nothing, then we will now adjourn the meeting.